You ever walk out of a store with a gun and just feel off? You don't want to admit it, but deep down, you know you made a mistake. Maybe it was the sales pitch, maybe the YouTube hype, maybe it just felt right in the hand. But now, it's sitting in your safe collecting dust. Never carried, never shot, never loved. I've been there more than once. So this ain't some top 10 worst guns list, this is personal. These are 10 guns I bought, or almost bought, and later realized I shouldn't have. Some are outdated, some just don't work for real-world carry, and some I wanted to love, but they let me down. So don't buy another gun, seriously, until you see this list. Let me save you the money, the hassle, and the regret. Let's get into it. Don't buy this until you know this. I'll be honest, I was hyped for this thing. A 5.7x28 pistol from Smith & Wesson sounded like sci-fi. Slim slide, light recoil, 22 rounds. I thought this might be the futuristic carry gun, but when I actually picked one up, that trigger wrecked it for me. It's got this internal hammer setup, but the break feels off, mushy, slow, like it hesitates before it fires. Not something I trust in a panic. And the price? Almost $1,000 for something that hasn't proven anything long term. Holsters? Good luck. Ammo? Pricey. And don't even try the cheap stuff. Mine choked on it. I gave it a chance. I wanted to like it, but it just didn't carry. It didn't stay. If you're serious about 5.7, the Ruger 57 shot cleaner for me. Cheaper and easier to kit out. Or maybe just skip the 5.7 hype altogether. A solid 9mm will get you more reps, more confidence, and a lot less regret. This is one of those guns that looks better in a brochure than it feels in your hand. Now don't get me wrong, I love revolvers. There's something raw about them, but the Ruger LCR? Man, it should have been the one. Lightweight, easy to carry, snag-free design. Yep, it sounded perfect, but then you shoot it. That brutal trigger pull feels like you're dragging a truck through molasses. And the recoil? It slaps harder than you'd expect from a .38. You go in thinking it's manageable, then realize it's a punishing little beast, especially with plus P loads. And don't even try rapid follow-up shots. This ain't no range toy. It fights you all the way. My buddy had one as his backup, swore by it, but he admitted, I carry it more than I shoot it because I hate shooting it. That says it all, doesn't it? Now look, I get it. Some folks just want the lightest revolver they can toss in a pocket holster and forget it. Fine. But for the rest of us, you're better off with a heavier snub like the SP-101, something that eats recoil instead of sending it back through your wrist. LCR sure did have the right idea, but in execution, it's a rough ride. You ever buy a gun thinking, hey, this'll do the job, and then realize it barely does? That's the Maverick 88. Now I know some of y'all will say, it's budget, what do you expect? But that's exactly the problem. This shotgun shows up in stores like it's a deal you can't pass. Pump action, 12 gauge, Mossberg name, under $250, feels like a steal at first until you start using it. That rattle, that clunky forend, that plastic safety down by the trigger guard, don't even get me started. I've run one and I wanted to like it, but after a few hundred shells, I was chasing screws, smoothing rough edges, and dealing with stiff action like it had arthritis. Look, I'm not saying it won't fire, it usually does, but when it comes to defending your home or surviving a bad day, usually ain't good enough. If you're serious, go Mossberg 500 or Remington 870. You will spend more, no doubt, but you'll sleep better. The 88 isn't garbage, but it feels like a gamble. And when it comes to shotguns, you don't gamble. The Desert Eagle is a beast, and that's not up for debate. You show up to the range with one of these and everyone hears it before they see it. It's loud, it's heavy, it kicks like a mule in a metal suit. But here's what they don't tell you. Nobody carries it. Nobody trains seriously with it. And the only guy I knew who bought one, he took it to the range once and then posted it for sale the same night. When I asked him why he sold it so quick, he goes, "I bought it to flex, but now my wrist hurts and I'm $2,000 lighter." That's the real Desert Eagle experience. It's not a practical gun and it's not a defensive gun. It's a movie gun and that's fine. It looks great in posters, but the moment you shoot it, you realize it's like trying to EDC a sledgehammer. If you're looking for firepower, there are 10mm handguns that punch just as hard without breaking your grip or your wallet. Something like the Glock 20 or the SICK P220 Hunter. Those still hit hard, but actually make sense. So yeah, the Desert Eagle, it turns heads. But when it comes to real-world use, you'll leave it in the safe and grab something else. Now this one sells like crazy because the name's cool, because it shoots both 45 Colt and 410, because someone saw a YouTube short where it blew up a watermelon. But carry it for a week, you'll start asking real questions. The Judge is big, bulky, heavy. You're not shoving this in a waistband without feeling like you've strapped on a brick. And accuracy? Let's just say 410 spreads fast and not always where you want it to. I had a guy at the range who swore by it and said it's his nightstand gun. But when we shot side by side, he missed more than he hit. Meanwhile, my simple 357 snub was ringing steel all day. I'm not saying the Judge is completely useless, but if you're betting your life on a shotgun revolver hybrid, you better have a backup plan. Want to feel the same power in a gun that's actually usable? Try a Ruger GP100 or a reliable 357 LCR. They're not as flashy, but they work when it counts. You would think that this one nailed it. Slim, 15 rounds, red dot ready, rides easy, all the numbers say yes. Even my pal Cheat carried it for months and swore that it was the one. But the day he swapped it for a Sig X macro, he never looked back. That says more than specs ever could. I've shot the Hellcat Pro plenty. It's not bad, but it's not mine. Grip angle's just off enough to bug you. The recoil's sharper than expected, and after a few range trips, I found myself reaching for literally anything else. Springfield got close here, real close, but something about it feels like it was designed by committee and not by a shooter. You don't bond with it, you just tolerate it. If you want something with soul, go try a Glock 48 MOS or the X Macro. You'll feel the difference in the first mag. Alrighty, now let's talk about a gun that's somehow both adorable and infuriating. The Beretta 21A Bobcat. Now listen, I understand the appeal. Tiny footprint, tip-up barrel, old-school James Bond vibes in 22 LR. You'll feel like a gentleman spy yourself just by holding it. But then you shoot it, and that's when things go sideways. Mine jammed so often that I started calling it the double feed Bobcat. CCI Minimax, same story. Cleaned it, oiled it, prayed over it. Nope. Still choked every third mag. I took it to the range with a buddy who loved his, said I was just unlucky. So we swapped and his jammed too. Here's the deal. It's a blowback 22 with a tiny slide and almost zero margin for error. Add in a finicky magazine and you've got yourself a frustrating machine. And yep, some folks get lucky. Maybe they got the golden child Bobcat that eats everything and runs like butter. But I wouldn't bet your life on it. Not for self-defense, not even for deep carry. And now it's discontinued, which honestly might be a mercy. You want a 22 pocket pistol that actually works? Look at the Ruger LTP2 Light Rack, or hell, even a Taurus TX22. At least those give you reliability with the same fun factor. The Bobcat, on the other hand, It belongs in a shadow box, not a holster. This one hit personally. I carried the Bodyguard 380 for 3 weeks straight back in the day, thinking I had a reliable little backup in my pocket. It was slim, light, easy to forget it was even there. But then it failed on me. Not at the range, not during some torture test, in a real self-defense class. High-stress timed drills. I pulled the trigger and click, nothing. Tried it again, click. And I will never forget that gut-punching feeling. That was the moment I realized this thing doesn't belong anywhere near my life. Now, some folks still carry theirs, some even trust it, but I've seen too many light primer strikes, spongy, inconsistent triggers, and weird reliability issues that never seem to get fixed. The worst part? Most people only realize it when it's too late. And yep, Smith & Wesson quietly discontinued it. You don't shelf a gun that's doing well. They knew. If you're set on a Pocket 380, do yourself a favor. Go get a Ruger LCP Max or a SIG P365. Same size, way better performance, and most importantly, they actually work. That Bodyguard's sitting deep in my safe now, never to see daylight again. And if you thought this was risky, just wait till we get to the Taurus Judge. Let me say this straight. I've owned the Glock 42. It's tiny, it's light, and it disappears in a pocket. And for deep concealment, it should have been perfect. But here's the problem nobody tells you. It's a 380. And while 380 has come a long way, I've never met anyone who truly trusts it the way they trust a 9mm. Ask around, shooters will nod and say, it's better than nothing. And when has better than nothing ever been good enough when your life's on the line? And then there's the reliability talk. Mine ran fine at first until it didn't. A couple of stovepipes, one failure to feed. I chalked it up to ammo at first, but then it happened again with premium stuff. Now I know folks who swear theirs run flawlessly, but me, I sold it and never looked back. These days, if I need a small carry gun, I'll take the SIG P365 or even the Hellcat any day. Same size ballpark, better capacity, and real 9mm punch. So yeah, the Glock 42 might feel like the right call, but carry it long enough and you might start second-guessing it like I did. You ever hold a gun and instantly think, man, something feels off? Well, that was my first reaction to the Remington RP9. Huge grip, odd angles, and a trigger that feels like it's not trying to offend anyone. They made it soft, vague, almost unsure of itself. Look, I get what Remington was trying to do. High capacity, budget friendly, a polymer striker fired 9mm to compete with Glock and Smith. But it just missed the mark in more ways than one. Missed the mark on ergonomics, missed on trigger feel, missed on reputation. You know how many folks walked into a gun store, picked up an RP9, and then walked right back out with a Glock 17 or a Ruger instead? Too many. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Remington's been through hell. Bankruptcies, buyouts, bad press. Trusting your life to a pistol from a company mid-collapse? That's a tough sell. Personally, I take a Ruger American pistol over this, or heck, even a Canik TP9 at that. Better track record, better support, better everything. The RP9 isn't the worst gun ever made, but in a world full of better choices, it just never stood a chance. And trust me, we're not done. Next week, I'm exposing the most overhyped pistols people are still buying in 2025. So every gun on this list, I've either owned, almost bought, or had someone close tell me, man, I regret this one. Some of them looked perfect on paper, some even felt good in the hand, but out in the real world, they just let me down. And I'm not here to trash brands just for clicks. I'm here to make sure you don't drop your money on something you'll bury in the back of the safe just like I did. Now here's the deal. I've got one more pistol I didn't include here. Because it's so bad, I don't even want to say the name unless you really want to hear it. Drop a comment if you're curious and let me know what gun you regret buying the most. Let's make sure nobody else makes the same mistake as moi. I'm Steve, this was Guns N' Roses, and next time, we're going after the most overhyped pistols of the year. You won't want to miss that one.